All right, bro. How's it going?
I'm doing good. What about you, Ben?
Awesome. That's awesome. I've been wanting to have you on this show for a while, so
Yeah,
I'm
you
glad that
mentioned
I'm
about
glad you could
it
be
like
one of the
a few
first
months
guests.
ago, and you're actually taking it into action. That's pretty
Yeah,
cool. Yeah.
it's been a while. Back when I was on your what would it be, a reaction video show, I guess?
Yes, my YouTube reaction video. We were watching some singers, right?
Yeah, we did. That was
Yeah.
pretty cool. I remember that. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, so maybe we'll start there. So for everyone who doesn't know, this is Mr. Juhwan Kim, and he
Hello, my name is Juan.
and he spent uh, a good deal of time in the Philippines a couple of years back. And that was one of the motivations that got him to start a YouTube channel that was more
Yeah,
targeted towards the Philippines. So
yeah,
I think the first thing maybe that we should talk about is how did that happen? Like, well, afterwards, we'll go back and learn a little bit about what you were like in high school and maybe some of the
for
things that
sure.
led up to it.
For
Uh,
sure.
but maybe just walk us
Let's
through
jump
that process.
straight into like the main highlight of almost 2020, I guess.
Yeah, and
So
how Juwan ended up in the Philippines and how that led to you starting a YouTube channel.
sure. So during high school, I was just like, I don't know, I was just posting some videos or my cover videos on YouTube, like just a few of them. And then I was like, okay, this is pretty hard. Like the competition is super fierce out there. So how am I gonna grab the attention, or the audience? Like how am I going to have that opportunity? So I started looking into Facebook groups, and then I joined a bunch of them, and one of them was BTS Philippines fan group. So it's like kind of niche, it's like K-pop, it's like BTS, and then it's Philippines. So I started like doing live videos there, and that's where everything kind of started. I started to gain some audience there, and then I continuously interacted with them and try to grow my audience. And then I made the decision to fly over there, and I did. And yeah, that's how kind of what happened. Yeah.
So before you continue on your process
Yeah,
and what happened when you actually went there, I know there's a couple of really interesting moments that we've already talked about that I'd
for
love
sure.
to do. What was your relationship to the Philippines before you decided to go there? Did you speak any Filipino? Did you want to? Uh,
Well, I try to sing in Filipino Tagalog because
okay,
it takes a lot of time to learn the language, right? Like it's totally
yeah.
different from English. It's different from Korean. Like it's nothing similar.
Mhm.
So for me to learn their language, I'd had to invest a ton of time. So like I was just just there, just I don't know, just like trying to, yeah, I was just like I didn't really know what to expect because I didn't really know Philippines at all.
So it was a
I didn't
pretty
know.
spontaneous thing, like when you decided.
Everything was spontaneous. Everything was very new to me.
Hmm,
I've never even traveled alone, by
yeah.
myself ever, and that was my first experience. And I've only been to U.S., Canada, Korea, and Philippines. That's like one of you know, the newest thing I've ever done.
Hmm. Okay,
So everything was new.
so 20-year-old Juwan has been making YouTube videos for a couple of years by this point. Um,
Um, when I went to the Philippines, first time, I was actually 18 years old. It was
18.
like right after I graduated high school. I was like just looking for jobs and stuff. Like my parents were like, "You need to get a job. You need to get a job." So I was like, "Okay, okay." And I tried. I was like, "This is not fun," So I was like, "Okay, let me like just jump in and take the risk." And to
Wow.
show my parents, show them what I can do, and I was just flying around, and I got some, yeah, I got into some bad stuff as well, but we'll probably get into that later.
Yeah. So 18 years old, you have, through a series of very improbable things happening, you've
Yeah,
discovered that there's a niche in the Filipino
yeah,
reaction videos, and
yeah,
you decided that you would start trying to fill that niche and try to build an audience through that. And part of that process, you flew to the Philippines, what was the circumstances under which you went to the Philippines? Like, I hear you had very little money and you just.
Yes, I only had $3 in my bank account before I flew to the Philippines.
That is.
That's like after I bought every equipment because I never really borrow money from my parents, so everything I gotta make and I gotta spend for my own equipments, for my own speakers, for my own mic, because I love music, my own guitar, everything I have to put my own money into. So that made it quite difficult for me, right? And I had to buy my own tickets, for the Philippines. And I literally had $3, So like, how am I gonna survive in the Philippines? Luckily, my dad gave me like supporting base 300 USD dollars, and I had to use that for 4 months, 5 months, and stay in the Philippines. But actually, like, let's go back to kind of where you were talking about like how I had the idea of reacting to the videos and stuff. To be honest, I didn't.
Yeah, let's hear about that.
Like, I did not have any intention of like I didn't really have the intention of trying to uh, build my audience by reacting to channels, reacting to videos and stuff like that. I mean, I just originally wanted to um, just learn about their culture, and because it really seemed interesting to me, and I felt the support that I've never really got, or felt from my own parents or my other people, like around me, because as I was growing up, like with my music stuff or whatever, I've never really, got that kind of, oh, you can do it, like that's good, except like LFAS, which was such a great place for me.
Yeah. We'll have to go back and talk about that. But
Yeah,
I see
more
what
of
you're
that.
saying.
But like, I just really never got the support to kind of carry on, so I really felt a lot of support and love from them. That's why I wanted to go there and actually meet them and help them out, because they were having some earthquakes back then,
Okay.
and like there were natural disasters, and I just wanted to help out, don't give donations, like help
So
those
you
in
saw
need.
it as a bit of a humanitarian trip in combination.
Yes, I really wanted to do that, because at that point in life, I was like, what am I doing with my life? Like, if I'm not going to do anything and just sit here, just
Mm.
look for jobs getting like paid like 10, $20 an hour or something, let me just go to that country and help those people. Like, although I don't got anything, maybe I can do something for them, just take that, just dive there and immerse in that kind of environment, and to just, just like live and just, observe and everything. So
Mm.
I was like, I just went there, and then that's how things happen. Like that was
Wow.
one of my first time taking that action. And all my life, I've never really felt like I've taken the action before. Like I've never really executed on something. It's like, okay, I'll release an album. Okay, I'll do this. Okay, I'll get $1 million. No, like, come on, like I didn't do anything. But
So how would
that
you
was
say that that moment where you decided to really take action for the first time, even though you had nothing figured out and you really had maybe a little less planning than you probably should have put into it,
zero
but
planning. Yep.
but nonetheless, you took action on something uh, and very thoroughly. You followed through with it. How did that moment impact the rest of your life since then in terms of executing on things?
Definitely. If it just made me just step forward. Before I would be afraid a lot. Like I would be afraid of the cold weather. I would hate rain. I would hate cold showers. I would hate eating certain food.
You
It's like
couldn't be living
I
in Canada, is what
I
you're.
just I was just being like, I don't know, like scaredy cat a lot.
Mm.
But then like through that experience, not even just the taking action part, like literally living in the Philippines, that just woke me up, and it just told me to like stop being scared of things, just take it, just take it, try it. It just, that wholesome experience for me just enabled me to take actions and not like be afraid as much.
And
Yeah,
that
definitely the action taking I learned from, but like trying different food, you know, meeting different people in like different language, going to somewhere I've never been before, like by myself, and experiencing everything that I've experienced just made me a lot confident, I should say.
Wow, that's awesome. So a couple of maybe follow-up questions to that. So how long were you there? And when you were there, I'm really big on moments. So I'm wondering if you could expand on two or three really important and impactful, or just really funny and kind of memorable moments that happened to you while you were in the Philippines.
So I was there November and I came back on March. The most memorable moment, I guess, is when I mean, there are just too many things I could talk about, right? I could talk about this for days because, you know, like I was literally there for like 4 months. You know, I was doing something every single day for the first 2 months, literally. My schedule was not like a vacation stuff. You know, I wasn't there to, you know, have a vacation, go to the nice beaches, like what everyone else does, you know, like they would call people tourists or foreigners because they're there to like enjoy their beaches, you know, have the best food, like go to the, because it's cheaper, right? So like they would do all these things, but I didn't really get chance to do any of those. I was literally like living like a Filipino there with the Filipinos, like with the people there. I was literally living in their house. I wasn't like residing in like the big, you know, fancy hotels. I was in like the real, you know, the Filipino house, like with like yeah, not so not so fancy houses, I should say. And yeah, I was eating their food and stuff like that. So I could just talk on like about so much, but I think the most memorable moments were when I actually lost my passport.
That's a good
I
one.
call it lost because it's stolen, but like I mean I still got it stolen, so it's lost.
Wow.
You know.
One country with $3 in your bank account.
Yeah, like I had the passport in my backpack pocket, and I would later discover that it's not there. You know.
How
But
long into
that's
your
not.
trip was this?
Sorry.
How long into your trip was this?
This was the second month.
Wow. So like
So
half.
on the second month, like I was literally I flew an airplane. This is my first time also flying airplanes like 6 times in like a month. You know, like I was going from north to south to north, like all this like airplane trips and stuff too. And you know, like think about it. I was carrying 50 kilograms of clothes because I prepared that to donate for the earthquake victims from Canada myself. So I literally had 50 kilograms of clothes, and I had two luggages because they're all of my belongings, right? And I had a guitar with the hard case, and you know how heavy that is. So just imagine all of those things I had to carry by myself, you know, and I had to fly from Manila to Davao, which is like 2 hours airplane ride. So I was carrying all those things myself. I was like the only one in the airport with that many things like by myself, you know. And you know, I guess I didn't really have the mind to like be really cautious, you know, of the bags and like put them in front, because you know in the Philippines they always put your bags in front, not the back, because to not get it stolen, because there are a lot of pickpocketers and stuff, and I was not, I guess, careful as much that time. And so the moment I probably got it stolen was when I was getting off the airplane. I had the backpack on my back, and my MacBook was there and stuff, but you know my passport was on like the side pockets kind of thing. So I probably got it stolen there. That's like the only case, only like a scenario I can think of. You know, I put it in my bag. I wouldn't like leave my passport somewhere else. You know, stupid.
And what were the ramifications of that? So you lost your passport, and like that's like identity theft, like that you're worried about, and
Yeah, like
get it back on the
I was
plane, all that
shocked.
stuff.
I was like, I just visited the police right after, making reports, like it was crazy. Like everybody was looking for it, um and then the airport manager was looking for it too. Like the whole airport was looking for it. I got on broadcast, and then like they were helping me with it. It became crazy, man. But like, but it's but if it was lost, like somebody would have returned it. But it's probably like it's stolen. So like they're obviously gonna sell my passport to somewhere or something, because apparently, yeah, there's the black market like that buys and sells passports too.
Oh
So
yeah.
I was just the poor victim there for sure.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that really screwed me up, like that, my passport being stolen really screwed me up. So that's why I just remember it till this day.
Mm.
And it was such a dramatic day, like even before getting on the airplane, I couldn't sleep at all because my flight was canceled. So I had to get on the next flight, which was 8 hours later. So I got on the flight at 7 a.m. And like I couldn't sleep, because if I sleep in the airport, like someone's gonna steal
Something
it.
else
Someone's
might get,
gonna
yeah,
steal
and
my stuff. So
you're
like I gotta
already
stay
really worried.
awake. So I didn't sleep at all, and I couldn't even sleep on the airplane. And
Wow.
then, like, yeah, I'm not really good at sleeping on airplanes. So I literally got off, and then like I was like, where's my passport? Like, no. I was like, just everything really felt so, it's just so terrible. I was like
Yeah.
done. I was
That's
like,
that's scary.
I literally
And
came here, and this is the start now. Like I'm here at the South now, like, and this is where I'm gonna donate, and this is where things are gonna actually happen, and where I lead the things towards. I worked for this, to happen, and then now I lost my passport. Like I'm done. Yeah, that's what I thought.
so you mentioned before how you were kind of scared about all sorts of things, and then you pushed yourself out of your comfort zone to jump into this, you know, pretty crazy situation that people probably would say, don't do that. But you did it. You went somewhere without a lot of planning, without a lot of,
Yeah.
and then you got your passport stolen. So you got thrown really into a situation where you had to learn to adapt quickly.
Yeah.
And so how did you adapt to that situation, and how do you think that impacts how you adapt today?
Um. Well, I mean, losing that passport was such a, I mean, it was a traumatic experience, to be honest, because it
Mm-hmm.
was a big deal. Because I didn't really have, you know, like the money. I mean, if I did, but I spent it on the flight, like the donations that I was earning from my concerts in the Philippines, I was using it for my other things, like my flight, my food, like just transportation stuff. So how am I gonna, pay for that, the passport thing? And it was really a bad experience. But I had to live without the passport for sure for quite a while. And because I didn't have the passport, and they had to process an
A new one.
emergency one. Um, like I just had to, I guess, like just survive there, because it's really complicated. Like I was supposed to get the emergency document and fly out by the flight time, right? The date that's supposed to be, but I couldn't because I didn't have enough time to process the emergency travel document, so I couldn't fly back in time. So I have to get a new airline ticket now. I have to just there's so much monetary things I have to like pay all of a sudden that I wasn't even supposed to, or didn't plan to, wasn't planned at all. And like that alone, like it was really stressful, and I had to get a lot of help, to be honest, from other people there. And that's actually what really helped me, and um, I guess that really also I learned from that as well, because before I never really asked for help or received help, you know I mean, obviously I did, but like but I'm just saying, like, I didn't really like ask for help and get help kind of thing. I would be asked a lot, like if I could help them. I'm like, sure, like, okay, like that's fine, like that's cool. But I never, yeah, I didn't really get a lot of help. And but
Mm.
that was like the time where I actually felt like I was getting helped, and I was, yeah, I was very, yeah, thankful and blessed for that situation.
So you learn to rely on other people, whereas before maybe you preferred to
Yeah.
give.
Yeah,
But it seems like
before I would just try to solve everything myself, and that actually happened in that case too. But then later I learned that, oh, I can't do everything by myself. I was like, okay.
yeah, it kind of
And that,
seems like it's easier sometimes to try to play the hero or try to be the person that's helping, but at the same time, we have to sometimes you find yourself in situations where you need help. And I
yeah,
think that it goes both ways. Like you want to be helping people wherever you can, and if you're blessed to be, or just fortunate enough to be born into a country or into a situation where you have a little bit more, I think it is kind of a responsibility to try to give back. But at the same time, don't other people can help you in ways that you maybe would have never thought of that you
for
couldn't help
sure.
them in.
It was impossible for me to do it myself, because I mean, it's in the Philippines, like
Mm.
everything is my first time. So
Yeah,
that's
and like you said,
why,
there's a lot of support there that you maybe didn't
for
have
sure.
here. Um,
Hmm.
so it before we move on from the Philippines experience, because there's a lot of other stuff I think that we
Yeah,
can
there's just so
totally
much.
talk
Yeah.
about. Um, Maybe could you expand just on one more moment that I know that you talk a lot about a lot of the positive experiences that happen in the
Yeah,
Philippines. And
yeah, for sure.
obviously the passport experience was one that you learned a lot from and was challenging and you learned that you need to ask for help. But is there another experience maybe that uh, you remember really fondly or that helped you grow as a person in another way?
What really helped me to grow? I really loved, uh well, I was just kind of telling you in a sequence, that's like the December, um like 15ish or something, 12, 15ish. And I really remember December 24th or 23rd, I believe. um yeah, 2019. This was when I did a street performance with the kids, street kids
Oh
in
wow.
Davao. And so I went around the whole city there, and we gave out food like hamburgers and stuff and water and bread, and gather the kids, and give them like snacks, and we would sing together. And that was actually one of the um, most memorable moments as well, because I remember myself being so happy, so happy. um like, I'm just getting chills. Like, I remember till this day that I was so happy when I was there spending time with them, and like just singing, and like, it was, you can't get out of your head. It's like those kids, like, they're there, like they live on the streets. I'm not even exaggerating. Like, they literally live on that street, that church, the street, you know um and yeah, like that was a little, like, during the daytime, I guess. And we stayed there for hours. We were walking around for more than 9 hours, like me and my fans, and like we had around like 15 people, and like just walking around and serving and everything. And yeah, like at nighttime, there were so many people on the streets too. Not so many kids. Like, I mean, yeah, there were lots of kids, but they were with like the adults. you know so we visited them as well, and gave food and did the same thing. And yeah, like that experience really, I don't know how to explain it. Obviously, you're gonna have to see it and try it yourself. But it was really a memorable experience for me, and something that I
Sticks with you, right? Something that you
yeah,
realize
yeah, yeah.
that
Like,
there's other
obviously,
things in the world other than just your own little world of whatever you're focusing on. That there's some real things happening, in other
yeah,
parts of the world.
obviously, I can't really say that I was so happy, because I mean, um like they're in that situation. I don't want to be happy for that kind of thing, right? But I was happy in a way that I could make some like some good memories with them. You know, that's what I really
Wow.
focus on, and that's what I try to focus on, because I can't be with them forever. You
Mm.
know, like I have my own life. I'm from Canada, right? I have my own stuff I gotta do here. I can't provide them with food and money every time, or I can't. So my goal when I was there was to try my best, try my utmost to make good memories with
Wow.
them, so that they can keep that memories, like keep that memory for the rest of their life. Like that's what I really try to focus on, because yeah, like I just can't. I'm not their parent. I'm like, I just don't, I can't provide for them for the rest of their life. But I really try my best to make good memories with them. And yeah, that's it.
Wow. It's really interesting that you say that. I was having a conversation with a friend earlier this morning, actually, where we brought up Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it's basically this psychologist who came up with this theory that people need to focus on, getting food and shelter, and then once those needs are met, they're going to be able to focus on higher needs like education. And once those needs are met, then they're going to be able to focus on highest needs like self-actualization or doing something that matters for you. But
Hmm.
I think, and my friend and I were talking about this, that theory is flawed in a lot of ways. First of all, it was created by somebody who didn't really meet with people who were on those lower levels of the hierarchy, and so it's a biased
Yeah,
view. And secondly, I think that people, obviously, when you can't get food or you have more basic needs you're trying to meet, you might not be able to focus on something like educating yourself. And that makes sense. But I think the top level, the self actualization, the desire to do something meaningful and to have really beautiful experiences in your life is a human universal that everyone experiences. And so I personally believe, and I think there's a lot of evidence for this, just from my experience and from what you're saying and what from other
yeah,
people have said,
yeah,
that those kind of moments and those experiences really actually do matter. Obviously, we should try
sure,
to feed people and help them as well,
for sure, for sure.
but we can't do that all the time. I mean,
Yeah,
if you're working really hard on your projects that we'll talk about in a bit, maybe you can give back monetarily in the
yeah,
future when you're more successful. But at this time in your life, the only thing you could
for
do
sure.
was help with an experience or just some do something that would be fun for someone. And I think that's really cool.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Like for sure. Yeah, I couldn't really stay in that place for a very long time too. I had a like not I only had like a few days there, so I try my best. Um, and it's just like how you feel. It's like how you're gonna um what you're doing. Like there at that moment, and do you feel like you're there to actually make good memories for them, like, have good time with them, or are you really there just to enjoy it for yourself and just, like freak around, like it's totally up to you. But my decision was that I really wanted to, you know, do something good.
Wow.
And like that was my goal, and that's what I wanted to do. And I really tried my best to do that. Because I didn't really have fun in any other things there. Like
Hmm.
I mean, yeah, I spent a lot of times just interacting with people there. Like that's literally like 90% of the things I did there.
But
Just
you probably grew
interacting.
a lot as a person from those experiences, and so it's valuable for you as well.
For sure, for sure.
Yeah. Wow. Well, I mean, we could probably talk about that for another 3 hours, but there's a lot of other moments in your life that I think maybe we
Yeah.
should touch
Okay.
on.
Okay. Okay.
So
Bring him up.
music is another huge theme with you.
Yeah.
When I met you in I think grade 11, you first
Yeah.
came to fine arts school. Um, you were the guy who everyone was like, oh, Juhwan, he's the best guitarist. He's so crazy. So how has music been played a role in your life? And you mentioned when you were in the Philippines that you used your musical gifts to try to give back as well. So maybe do you want to just start a little bit by talking about your relationship to music and how you developed that relationship and maybe how that relates to you moving to Langley Fine Arts?
For sure. It really played a huge role, I guess. I mean, it still is like till this day in my life, and I probably think that it will for the rest of my life as well. Um, I mean, I didn't really. It wasn't a magical thing, you know. It's not like I just suddenly loved music and like it's not. It was there was nothing like that. I was just yeah, I was just I had a classical guitar that someone gave in like when I was grade 6 or something.
Okay.
And then it was very small and like it's like $30. It's like cheap one. And I would like always try to play some chords, like, and my dad would sometimes teach me the chords. And my dad was the church's worship team, like the worship team leader. So
Okay.
he knows how to play like the basic chords on the guitar and piano and sing and stuff, you know. So I was like kind of just listening to a lot of like those Christian kind of songs, you know, because like since I was growing up in a Christian family, you know, there's a lot of hymns and like the songs, like the Christian songs and playing in my house and stuff. So I would grow up listening to those. So I was really distant from pop music and jazz and classical, like everything. I like almost everything in my life in the beginning was like the worship songs, you know, just the Christian songs. Um and then later, yeah, I would just learn fingerstyle guitar because I just fell in love with this one song. So I would just master, like I was just get on it, you know, like hours and hours. I play it like still till this day, you know, like
Yeah.
I yeah, it's like crazy. It's
That's
like
your main style, right? Like probably now.
yeah. So I just grew up watching people like to play the fingerstyle guitar, and I would try it,
Do you
and
have a
then later like
specific
people would
musicians that you looked up to?
yeah, some Japanese like Kotaro Oshio,
Oh
Sungha
yeah.
Jung, like the Sungha Jung's the Korean guy, like who does the
Yeah. Who
fingerstyle
does all
guy.
of the covers? That guy's insane.
Yeah.
One
Like
of the craziest. Yeah.
I don't
They could-
watch them anymore, but like back then, like they were the heroes of mine. And you
Mm,
know, like I would play guitar a lot. Not really a lot. Like I was never consistent with guitar at all. But
mm.
I would practice when I get into it, and I would have so much fun. And yeah, later like my parents didn't really support me as being a musician, such and like such early point of life. Um,
And
in
why do you think
around
that was? Was that a just because they hadn't seen evidence of it working out for other people, or was it?
that's I think one of the most probable factor because yeah, they also heard like advices from other musician that like who was a composer, and they took that advice, I guess, or opinion very seriously, I guess. um
Hmm.
yeah, there my dad was just saying, oh, only 100, like 1 out of 100 people musicians will be successful or something. That's what he was saying back then. um
Probably was true for that generation, right? And things
yeah, for
changed a lot
sure.
now.
For sure. um and yeah, like I really didn't have the motivation or given from them to pursue music or anything, because they would always support me to be like an engineer, or they would encourage me to, you know, like do something
Doctor
that actually
or engineer, yeah.
pays you, like a dentist or a doctor,
Yeah.
you know, like because they yeah, I mean, I'm not like that unintelligent as well too, you know, like my parents were like saying, oh, you got that like head, but why aren't you like doing something like,
Yeah.
yeah, like why aren't you becoming a doctor, you know, or something like that. So
I can relate.
like I mean back then, like I just didn't really like understand, I mean, have that kind of you know, that space to do something else, you know. I just really loved music that time, you know. And
And so
like
how old were you at this time? This was
I was like grade 10, grade 9, grade 10. You
okay.
know, like that's literally when they were already like kind of stopping me or
Focus on your
restricting.
career.
Yeah, like I was only grade 9, like and 10. Like to think about it right now is kind of crazy to me. You know, I didn't really think about that back then, right? Like I was just like, why are they doing this to me? But like, like if I think about it right now, it's kind of crazy. Like, don't you think?
I
Like,
do. I think it is in some senses, but I also think that it doesn't come from a bad place. I think most parents want
of
the
course.
best for their kids, and obviously in each generation there's a different. I mean, I don't think there's ever been such a big gap between two generations as there is between ours and our parents, just
Yep,
because of the
yep,
increasing rate of technology
for sure.
and innovation. But I also think that there's a lot of social changes that have happened in the past,
Yes.
40 years since like the 70s that really resonate with young people. And I think maybe a lot of parents, especially really well educated parents, who for them, the way to achieve great success was to really work hard and really dedicate yourself to a specific career, like doctor, lawyer. I think that's probably why. But I
Yep.
think that it can also be damaging for people who are naturally inclined, as you seem to be, to more creative endeavors, which are also really important.
Yes. Well, what the reason why I find it quite crazy is because, like if I think about it right now, like grade 9, 10, like it seems very like a young age, like to
It is
just
young.
still try like different things and just kind of do what they want, like just have that kind of freedom to explore at that age. But
But our
I
parents' generation had to grow up pretty fast, I think.
yeah, I guess so. Yeah. Maybe that's the reason
Probably
why.
especially with your parents growing up in Korea, right? Like the situation
Mm.
would have been completely different than it is even in
For sure.
China.
Yeah, they went through a lot, like because
Yeah.
of the economical depression there as well. And
Yeah.
yeah, so they probably like I understand them, right? For that. But yeah,
Yeah. And you're just in a completely different situation. So you're really into music. Music's a big part of your life. And then in grade 11, you have the opportunity to go to Langley Fine Arts School. What changed?
LFA, yes. So okay.
Other than that, you met me. Obviously, that was.
I was actually very very I was a very rebellious kid as well. I'm the firstborn in my family. I got three younger siblings. Um, and I should be playing that wall role, right? Like the
Yeah.
wall of the house role.
The stereotype. Yeah. Yeah.
But like the wall was like broken. Like, the most rebellious, yeah, kid I could ever be.
That's amazing.
Like in my high school, I actually didn't go to LFAS right after I came to Langley. I actually went to Walnut Grove Secondary School. And then
I'm so
I
sorry.
was not attending my classes.
Just kidding.
I was like, there was a music, like the music part, like department, and then they would have like a room upstairs, with like computers and stuff. So
Mm.
I would skip almost all of my classes, and I would go there and just grind on my guitar. And I still remember that day. I was like, I was even trying to learn dance by myself, or I was even trying to,
Wait, dance? Dance songs or just like literally
like
dance?
dance, like literally learn how to dance, kind of like K-pop dance or whatever.
That's
and
amazing.
I was,
Yeah.
and I was also like on these websites like where you watch videos or or follow them on Twitter. I would make fake Twitter accounts, and then you get the certain amount of points to get Facebook followers or something. So I
Mm.
I was on that, Kingdom for Likes or something. I don't know, like it's like .com, or like it was like some weird website where you could accumulate some followers, like numbers on your social media. And during that time, I was quite like I was only grade 9, but why am I don't know why I was so focused on getting that audience. I was grinding for audience since grade 9. So I was like,
Yeah.
okay, like I'm gonna try to scale my numbers on my Facebook, and
Mm.
try to like do this. So yeah, so I was keep doing that, and then later I kind of just, I kind of got kicked out, like off the school. um didn't really get kicked out in like didn't really get
Well, you got
literally
kicked out of WGSS?
yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Uh,
I had no idea.
like
How did that happen?
yeah. I didn't really have a good relationship with the vice principal as well because yeah.
The big
But I
school too.
yeah, like I didn't get kicked out. Like I had the choice to go, but I obviously chose not to, right? Because like that I if I was skipping out classes, playing guitar, dancing, and like
Amazing.
following people on Twitter, then like why? Obviously, I wanted to quit school. I was like, I hate school, and it was one of the most emotionally or mentally challenging um like phase of my life as well. So I just got out of school and then I was working at a sushi restaurant full time at like grade 10 or something, grade 10 or 11. I was working full time at a sushi restaurant.
Was this
You
during
know,
school time? Like instead of going to school, you were doing this, or in the summer?
yeah, like I was serving literally people from
Wow.
WGSS. How would that feel for me?
Sweet.
Like that was
Wow.
crazy. Like
Yeah.
this Asakusa is like the
Yeah.
restaurant I was working at during that time, and just imagine you see your friends that were in your class come to you and you serve them
Wow.
food and you give them food and stuff.
And you
You
feel
know?
like a high school dropout at this point, because as far as you're
Yeah.
concerned, you're not going
Like,
to school.
and I was not like grade 12 or I don't know, I was not a university student. Like I was literally just starting my high school and I was struggling and like just mentally and like emotionally everything. And I was like serving them food.
Wow.
Yeah. And
So
then
how did you decide to go back to school then at that point?
so I didn't decide that I would ever go back to school again. I just thought that I would be a guitarist or just yeah, do something with music. That's what I thought. And so I was obviously just continuing to practice my guitar
Mhm.
um during that time. And then one time from this church that I was attending to, like he told me that I should play for his friend's cafe. So I went to the cafe and there was a performance night or something. So I was like just playing my guitar there, my turn. And then this old man came in, young man came and shook my hand and it's like, are you from where was it again? Capilano Jazz or something? And I was like, no, I'm a high school dropout or something. Like that's probably what I said. And then that was Mr. Goddard.
Mr. Goddard. Oh my goodness. That's
That was
insane.
Mr. Goddard. Like
So
the
he pulled some
man.
strings then to get you into
Yeah.
fine arts.
Like I met him there. We talked like the music stuff, and then he played his like piano. I was like watching. I was mesmerized by his performance, and like that was kind of when I was like, wow. And he's like, just come to our school, Langley Fine Arts. Like
Wow.
so that's kind of where everything happened, and which was one of the like the God's gift. I like that's it. Like it's impossible for that to happen without anything like
Yeah.
weird. Because like at that exact time, the right person, like I was saved, literally.
There's a lot of things I think that just can't be explained. They just happen and you're like,
Yeah, like
it's
that one was like just like weird, like really weird.
and
Um,
and the fact that it was someone who actually could, do something about it. And this
yeah, like
would
who
have been
has who
so
had the
different.
authority to? Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, if you hadn't been able to go to fine arts, like it would have been so different. Wow, that's really
I
interesting.
think everything would have been different if I didn't go to fine arts, really. Just imagine, because I was just working at a sushi restaurant, like
You might have
I was
settled and
working
just
at a
stayed at
sushi
that for a
restaurant.
while.
Yeah, like I was working there and then I got out of there, I think like after a few months, and then I was like struggling what to do. I was like, what am I gonna do in my life? Like, and then am I gonna go back to Walnut Grove Secondary School or I was like, nah, I'm never gonna go back there again. And I didn't even really know about like the Langley Fine Arts School. Like I never knew I could get in, like it's like I just didn't know about it. And
Yeah.
then because my parents weren't really enlightened in that kind of area too, because I mean it's their first time coming to Langley. It's like they're not, you know, experts, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, like we all didn't know, and then like we were very surprised after we went to the like, what is that called, like before the school starts, or like you
Maybe
first
like an
go.
orientation thing or
Yeah,
something.
we went to the orientation thing, and somehow I've been able to go in second semester, like, which is also apparently like not allowed, because it's like a, I don't know, it's, there's already like classes already like all set up
Yeah.
and stuff, and then,
It
yeah,
just
like
shows you
I
that
was
he would
lucky.
have had to pull a lot of strings in order to make sure that you could go, which really speaks a lot to his character, just as someone who, like, you know, really noticed your talent and maybe
Yeah, for
also
sure.
foreshadowed some of the support that you got once you were in the Philippines, right? Like you said, you didn't have much support up to that point, but I guess that was
Yeah,
probably,
that for sure. Mr. Bonner, obviously, right? Mr.
oh yeah,
Bonner is the man. Like, you
yeah,
know, he helped me out a lot as well.
really
And
great
Mr.
guy.
Bonner, and yeah, I was also friends with Dan that time. Like,
Okay,
also,
yeah,
also, and he was friends with Peter. You know, like
yeah,
Peter is, you know, like Mr. Bonner's son. So I was
yeah,
like, okay, it's weird, but it somehow worked.
yeah. That's amazing. And then you were able to fit into a group of a lot of other people who also really like
Yes.
music.
Yes,
And
I was
how do you
I
think
was
that impacted your relationship with music?
um for me, like music before, everything was just kind of like by myself, you know. I was just practicing alone, you know, I was playing alone, I was watching alone, you know, like I was performing alone. It's like I never really had that group experience, or I didn't really have a lot of musician friends during that time. So having that kind of group of people who really enjoyed music, who thought about, you know, who was thinking outside of the box, you know, like that was kind of like a very important thing for me, right? And to kind of be in that kind of environment, you know, it was very, very important for me to have growth in music and teamwork. And because, you know, music is not all, everything. It's not about yourself, right? You gotta get this drum, you gotta get the bass, you know, you're like, you
Yeah,
gotta have like the fundamentals and have, you know, fun, you know. And music is not always fun if you do it all by yourself all the time. A jam, you know, you gotta have fun with your friends, you know. So that kind of
cultural
experience
experience too.
really,
It's about
um,
meeting with people and making music together a lot of times, right?
yeah, yeah, for sure, like collaboration, right?
Yeah,
So I was like really happy, just genuinely happy that I could play guitar, I could accompany for this person, this singer, this whatever, you know, like just I was very thankful, you know, that I could have that opportunity to do that, because I didn't before. I was just playing by myself the whole time, you know. Even when I was skipping schools, like I was up on the in the music room by myself, you know, alone in that room, just playing. And then even my parents weren't listening to my guitar playing. Like nobody wanted to listen to my music. And then, but I was in a place where people wanted to listen to my music. So I was really thankful, and I really had a lot of fun.
so throughout those years nobody's listening, and so you realize that it's only the power of music as a friend, I guess, that is keeping you going, because you don't have anyone else, and now
For
you're in
sure,
a
for
situation
sure.
where you have more support and are maybe able to grow a bit more as a musician, and you're able to collaborate with different people.
Also,
So
I actually had that ambition as well, because like I don't know why, but I always kind of thought of the um like the growth, and like the growth of the audience, or I just always kind of somehow saw an opportunity in
mm,
each kind of, you know, things. Like for example, if it was music, or if it was YouTube like reaction videos, I just kind of saw the opportunities, and how far, you know, like I could try to reach for, you know, like so that's why I think I tried, you know, really hard, because
Hmm.
if I knew that if I tried hard, or if I grinded, or if I put out this, I could get some of the audience here and there, and maybe like there's some more opportunities for me later on and stuff like that.
Wow, yeah, that definitely seems to be a recurring theme in your story so far.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, part of it is collaboration as well. But you talked a bit about growing your audience and how that was always a theme for you since you
Yeah.
were young. And when you went to fine arts, you especially realized that this is possible, and it helped you to have more confidence in that.
Yeah.
Now, you have you had how many subscribers did you get to on YouTube?
Right now I'm sitting at around 175,000 subscribers.
175,000 subscribers. So I
Yeah.
think that it would be a shame if we didn't talk about your process in building a
Yes.
following, and
Yeah.
what kind of tools and things you found that worked, and maybe some of the potholes that you dipped into along the way.
So for me, building my audience was just uh, I didn't really want to build in like using money, because I didn't have no money.
Yeah.
Like I had nothing to spend on advertising and stuff or whatever. Like everything had to somehow be organic growth.
Yeah.
So how was I gonna do that? I wasn't sure really, until I did it. Especially with the
Taking action.
YouTube growth. I mean, I don't know if the listeners here all want to be YouTubers or something, but I mean, it's really important that you just, I don't know, you just gotta be lucky.
Be lucky. Great advice. Okay,
It's really
you heard the man.
important.
Be lucky, and you'll be fine.
It's really important. You gotta be lucky. Like luck is the first, I think,
Okay.
think for me. Like I'm just giving my personal experience, right? So luck was the first obvious like the thing for me, because
Which then transitions to gratitude, because you're recognizing that it's not you. A
for
lot of
sure.
stuff you can't control.
Yes.
And
Yes.
humility.
Yes. I really didn't expect at all to get that many people watching my videos,
Yeah.
but it's really about figuring out the trend, figuring out the niche, and just creating a content that they might want from you, or just anyone. Something that they would like to consume if you put it out at the right time, at the right moment. And if you put out something that's good, like a good content, a productive content, quality productive content, and then that actually will give you the opportunity to grow your audience and stuff like that. Yeah, like if I put one video that was like not informative, or not sharing my own perspective, and trying to make things better, kind of, like, because I was making videos about like this issue, so if I'm trying to like if I'm the mediator, right, and trying to like amend the relationships between like the two parties, then like they would have more interest and show me more support, in my videos, in my channel, and they would watch, because in YouTube it's really about how many people are going to click on your video. I'm just talking specifically about YouTube right now.
Yeah,
but
you can generalize this.
yeah, it's really about
in YouTube.
Yeah, it's really about who's going to click on your video, like by looking at your thumbnail, and also how long like are they gonna watch your video for. It's about the view duration and the click percentage of your videos, that gets you recommended to other people on YouTube, on your explore page, or on your homepage, and other recommended videos. So it's really important that you make it interesting for them, in order like for them to stay long enough to watch your content. And for that, you would obviously need to have, like what I said, a trending content, because trending is obviously the most easiest way, easiest and the most efficient, I should say, way that you could make them watch your videos.
So it takes a good deal of intelligence to be able to
Yes, you have to
figure out what
use your
topics
head.
are worth talking about
Yeah,
and when.
yeah, you got to use your head.
So you talked a bit about luck and how that plays a big role. What about consistency? How much of a role does consistency play?
Consistency plays a really big role, because I was posting like videos like at least once a week. I was uploading maybe twice a week, and then I was also getting a lot of advices from other YouTubers as well during that time, because since my videos and my channel was popping up like really huge all of a sudden, I was getting a lot of like contacts from other big YouTubers as well during that time. They had like 800,000 subscribers, like a million,
Oh,
um, and so yeah, like they gave me some advices that I would need to be super consistent at least once a week. I don't do that anymore. Like I'm not consistent at all, because I have like some other things like that's just going in my way. And
yeah.
but really like consistency for YouTube, it's really important, because without that, you're not gonna have the flow going on. You really need that for YouTube. Yeah,
And maybe also to develop a consistent narrative voice that you're telling your
for sure.
stories from, right? So that
Yes.
people know what you're all about and why they should
Yes.
follow you.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. So you talked a bit about just mentioning now how you had some other things going on, maybe that we're taking away now from what you're thinking about with your reaction videos and you're building an audience. So um, obviously you were really successful at building an audience and you've been really successful as a developing musician and learning a lot of techniques. And I can speak from my experience too, as having played with you, that you've got a really good musical sense, you have a really good ear, and you're a good musician overall. But breaking through into
Thank
that music scene is also one of the things that you've always wanted to do. And
you. Yes.
by being successful in building your audience of reaction videos, it took away a little bit from uh, your possibilities in music.
Yeah.
So is that why you're slowing down right now to try to get
Um.
back into music, or do you have some other plans?
For me, like I was just all about like growing the audience, like what I said, like before, like I was just all about kind of like growing my audience, building that audience,
Yeah.
um and then like I don't know, like that was just my whole life. I was just making music and I just wanted to be successful. I wanted to like be like other artists who just like put out songs and they make like $1 million each time or more. Like
You want the good life.
like yeah, like the good life.
Yeah.
Like that's just kind of like what I wanted before.
Mhm.
But then like honestly, Ben, like I know that we've been talking about like all this time about building the audience, right? So that's why it's really hard for me to like say this to other people, like, but I don't know, but life just kind of has changed somehow, for me. And I just don't have the same desire that I did before to build the audience, or to kind of expand, and be in that competition kind of thing. It's just, I don't know why exactly, but I just don't have the same desire to be like on top and have a lot, like a ton of money kind of thing. It's just, I just don't have that right now for some reason. And it's obviously going to sound weird,
Yeah.
right, for a
Well,
lot of people, because they're going to think like, oh, because when I tell them this, they always say like, oh, but you have like 175K subscribers on YouTube, you can scale off like a lot easier, which is true. You know, I have 175,000 subscribers. You know, like the hardest phase of YouTube is getting your first 10,000. You know, but if I got to 175, of course I can scale. You know, but it's just like I'm not getting the same energy or that same desire to to do it. Yeah. So it's very weird for me as well. And I sometimes think if there's something wrong with me, like why am I not doing that? Or why am I not like wanting to, you know, post more videos, wanting to have more audience or fans or whatever. You know, it's like it's kind of, yeah, weird for sure.
We've talked about, not on this podcast, but before we have talked about how sometimes building something takes away from your ability to get a certain amount of joy or fulfillment out of the day-to-day things, the small things and the moments that kind of pass you by.
For sure.
Do you think that that has a part of maybe what all of this is? Do you think maybe that a part of it is that you're starting to recognize that there's a lot of magic, a lot of beauty in the smaller moments in between, and that it's not all about being successful from the monetary perspective?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's obviously a thing. I actually spent a lot of time with my family and stuff, and try to reconcile my relationship with my dad a lot more. And also with my brother, I've been trying to focus more on you know, building my relationship with him, you know, during the rest period from my building period, right?
And
And
COVID as
yes,
well, with like the whole world.
yeah, I just feel like the COVID, to be honest, actually played a huge role, because I just feel like I'm not free as much as before because of the travel stuff. You know, it's just it's really makes it really hard, right?
Mhm.
So maybe that's one reason why I'm not having the same kind of desire or energy, because I just know that I can't fly out tomorrow or the day after. You know, it's like, um, yeah, I don't know. Like it's really strange for me too, Ben. I just still haven't figured out why I'm like this, but
Well, I guess it's all part of the process too, right? Like none of
yeah,
us really know what's happening. We're just trying to make the best approximations that we can
for sure.
as we go. But I think that, speaking a little bit on that topic as well, I think that COVID has obviously shut a lot of things down. But I think that one of the big silver linings has been, even though it doesn't feel like it all the time, it forces you to slow down a little bit and to invest in some of, you know, your family or smaller relationships. And it's really hard for people who don't have those relationships.
Yeah.
Um, but for those of us who are fortunate to have people that we can connect with during this time when everything is kind of shut down,
Yes.
I think it's a good reminder that not everything in life is just about being as busy as possible and
For
scaling
sure.
everything. And obviously that's a big part of it. Like, you know, you build your music business or your music platform, and you can use that to help a lot of people, as you've done in the Philippines, and you hopefully will do in the future.
Yeah.
But I think that there's nothing wrong about taking time that you need in
Hmm.
order to, you know, figure out exactly where you're going. And who knows, it might just be that it was kind of something you were doing was disingenuous to who you are as a person, and right now
Yes.
you're trying to figure out exactly who that is.
Yes. And also if you're gonna talk about like the music stuff a little bit more, for me, like personally, like I'm not too into the like the love genre. I mean, I love like the OG like the love songs, but like I'm not like really all into like the modern kind of the like the love songs kind of thing.
Okay.
I think we talked about it before. I don't know if it was you and
Okay.
Murat, but like we
Okay.
talked
Yeah,
about
we talked about this.
yeah, and then but so I'm not totally like into that kind of stuff.
So you're into the
Um
storytelling genre.
so like I don't like just something with depth, you
Yeah.
know? Like I loved music that has depth. And
Mm.
that's like, I think that's what's really resonates with my heart, because, you know, like I gotta feel it. If I don't feel the music, like I'm not gonna listen to it again, you know. So um yeah, like I just really want to make music that's productive, that's giving some people like some comfort or some
Wow.
realization or some happiness, you know, like something more than just the temporary joy. I want to give like that memory, or like that something that's like, you know,
Yeah.
sticks with you. So
A moment of magic.
yeah, and to do that, I think that I will need to have more experience in life, some more, I need to just, you know, experience so much more, look at so much more things, you know. So I'm just, I guess, you know, listening to a lot and try to listen to more artists that, you know, had the depth, and, you know, like, and stuff like that. Yeah.
I think there's a lot of wisdom in that. And it also seems to harken back to your previous experiences in music. I mean, before you went to fine arts, before you started building your audience, you mentioned that it was a the last comfort, right? You know, even though people didn't want to listen, you dropped out of
Mhm.
school, but still it was always music was the theme, and it was the thread that kind of kept you as a person. And I think that a
Yes.
lot of times that's what art can be for people. It doesn't need to be a commercial thing where you share it with all the world. It can just be something personal. And I think at
Yeah.
the end of the day, it really is just something personal, which some people choose to share.
Yeah. Definitely.
Wow, man, that's a really interesting topic. We totally talk about that for a lot more. Um, I want to bring up one funny story though.
For sure. Bring
A
it up.
mutual friend, Murat, asked me to ask you about an experience that happened. Um, and I'll just make sure I get all these details correct. So, from what I understand, you, Taehoon, and Murat were in Surrey Central Station, I think it was. Yeah, and
No,
you
I'm pretty sure it was the Langley
the
City one.
Lougheed
Yeah,
one. Okay,
Langley.
the
Yeah,
Lougheed
Langley
one,
City.
and
No, it's not Lougheed. It's Langley City.
Langley City one. Okay, okay, okay. Yeah, yeah. Obviously, Lougheed's
Yeah.
not. Anyways, I'm from here, by the way, so it doesn't
Oh,
seem
okay,
like
okay.
I messed that up. um, yeah. Anyways, so you're at some place, and and there's this guy who, I guess you guys were out really late. You were walking home, and some guy came up and asked if you guys were feeling tough. But Murat and you thought he asked if you guys were feeling rough, and so you're like, "No, I'm doing all right. How about you?" And then this guy was like a semi gangster or something, and he was just like, "I'm gonna mess you up if you don't like." Like stop being a smart mouth and stuff. Do you want to talk about what happened in that? Because I'm really interested to hear exactly what went down.
Well, I don't I don't remember like clearly, like vividly, but
Okay.
um I do remember that it was not a fun moment. Like we were like out there quite late, and like Tay and Brad and I were like there together, and like we like I like to taunt people sometimes, you know, like I'm the type of guy to
We
taunt
know that.
sometimes, like, and make them mad sometimes, like that kind of like the monkey style, I should say, the rat style.
Monkey style.
Like throw some banana peels at them, stuff, you know,
Oh,
like
that's hilarious. That's so
that's
accurate.
just the
And you're
huh?
wearing the yellow hoodie too, so it's perfect.
Yeah, for sure, the monkey style,
Curious
the
George
banana
style.
style. So like I just I like to taunt them, you know. So I'm pretty sure I did something. Like that's I'm just predicting because I don't remember exactly, but I'm predicting that I was
You're
like
an
shaking
instigator.
my butt at him or something. Like I don't know what I did, but I was taunting 100%. And then I remember that he was walking at us, you know?
Okay.
He was walking at us, and then I'm pretty sure like I was and then we were like a street across from each other. Like
Okay.
we were on the this street, like on the right, and he
He was
was
on
on
the other
the
side of the
left
street.
one. And then and then I was gonna cross the street like onto his side, you know. And then Murat was like, "No, stop! Like he might have a gun or something, you know, like." Yeah, so we just ran from him and stuff. I remember that. Yeah, we ran because he was marching at us. He was like marching and running at us. So
What did this guy look like?
it
Was he
was
like a
dark.
scary looking
It
dude?
was dark. It was very dark. I don't even know.
He was just some guy with like a black hoodie that walked
Yeah, it was
towards
some.
you across
It
the
was like this
street.
guy with a black hoodie or something. Yeah, it was like
Terrible.
not fun for sure. And then
And
that
you brought it onto yourself 100% is what you're saying.
yeah, and that moment, Murat, Tay, and I knew that was like, you know, quite a scene. You know, like we were like, wow, like let's do something, like let's grind, kind of thing. You know, we were all thinking there that we had to do something to get out of here for sure. It was all about survival.
All about survival.
Because Ben, I say that because at that time, like I was kicked out of my house probably. Like
Yeah.
yeah, I
Tell us
remember
about that.
sleeping.
Tell us about what happened with that situation.
Yeah, like I was in a rough situation with my dad. Like I said, like I was having some rough times. So I was like just living in another pastor's house, and like
Okay.
and when I couldn't do that, I would like sleep at Marat's, or
Mm-hmm.
I would sleep over at Tay or something, or sometimes I would decide to sleep outside and stuff. So
Crazy.
like
And
after looking at him though, like
this
the
was
guy.
first year graduation kind of thing.
Hmm?
This was first year after you graduated.
No, this is before.
This is before grade 12.
Grade 11 maybe. Yeah.
Grade 11. Okay.
Grade 11, 12. Yeah, 12 too.
Okay.
12 as well. But yeah, around that time, like it was, just I was up. I mean, I was obviously in my house a lot, but like there were like times, like maybe happened 20 times, 20, 30 times.
And was it mostly because you were pushing his buttons kind of thing? Or or was it the other way around? Or what was the reasons usually?
Um, to be honest, I can't really say like it's at whose fault, but
Okay. So it wasn't like the situation where you're shaking your butt at the guy across the street and it's like obvious.
yeah, like, and then we were like, Juhwan, like now you should never think about being homeless, because I made like, since I was just kind of crazy with all these ideas and like all these kind of like ideas to get the views or to get kind of successful,
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
and at that time, and at that time I was kind of thinking, what if I be homeless?
I remember that. I
Like,
remember
what if I
like,
make
I think I'm gonna
videos?
be homeless for a bit, and we were all like,
Like,
"What?"
what if I document myself being homeless for like 48 hours or something, like what if I
Yeah,
document that whole thing? Like that'd be pretty cool, I thought. Like that's just what was in my mind. I don't know why. I was only grade 11 or 12,
yeah.
but like how
Which
did
is
I get
the reason why.
that kind of stuff in my head? Like who's gonna think about that?
And you really wanted those views.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. It would have worked, right?
Yeah, man. Well, you had some really interesting things that you tried, and I think that this is probably part of the reason why you were able to garner such a big audience because you were willing to take risks. Even though you
Yeah.
said you were afraid of things, I think that may be not entirely fair to yourself. Like, you
Mm.
were willing to take a lot of risks and try different things, and obviously you going to the Philippines was a good testament to
For
that. You
sure,
wanted
for
new
sure.
experiences. Um,
Yes, a lot of people disagreed. Like my parents, Marate, like first, like at first,
yeah,
like the disease, like malaria, mosquitoes,
yeah. I mean,
I don't got a family, like it's like
there's a
a
lot
lot
of
of trouble,
reasons.
a
There's a
lot
lot of
of
reasons
risks.
not to, right?
Hmm.
But you found the reasons why you should and why it would be valuable, and obviously it had a big impact on who you are now.
I didn't really go though with that, to be honest, because
Yeah,
I didn't know what good things could happen, to be honest. I was just
you're just
expecting.
lost trying to
I
figure
was
out
I
what
was
to do.
expecting good things to happen because I was like, if I'm gonna go there and do good things will come back to me. You know, I was like just believing in the good, good and bad, bad.
In the
You know,
karma kind of thing.
yeah, but it struck me, you know, when the passport thing happened, and
Yeah.
also when Rafi TOEFL thing happened. Do you know what?
Why don't you expand a little bit on that? Because
Okay, so that's a
you,
very important topic as well, because it's
yeah,
something that, yeah, it's very important. So Rafi TOEFL is a person who has 10 million subscribers on YouTube. And he has a channel called Rafi TOEFL in Action, where he helps those people in need, yeah, who needs help, you know. So when I lost my passport, I was thinking maybe someone could return it, you know. So if I'm on his channel and kind of like if he like just kind of like tells people there like, oh, please like help him, you know, like get it back or something, like or tell the guy like he'll pay him, or I don't know what the method he's gonna use, but I thought maybe I could get some help to get my passport back, because that was the only way to not get my flight delayed, or you know,
yeah,
or another flight ticket, you know, so I could just go back in time. That was the only way, and that was my only hope, I thought. And so I went the day before, and you know, like the people there gave me like an early pass, you know, so I could use it the next day, because apparently you need the numbers and get lined up or something. And you know, when I went there, there were hundreds of people, like
uh,
6 a.m. in front of that building, 200 people lined up. Like that was already crazy for me. And there were all sorts of people. Some people on wheelchairs with their eye patches, like
all
the
because this
most,
guy helps people. Um,
like with certain troubles, like whether that's like I don't know, like the family problems, or you know, between like this, yeah, two other families or whatever, you know, like, or the health stuff, or um like the medical bills like too much, like they go there for help.
wow.
And so I thought, I because my case was really like just urgent for me and important for me as well, right? Because I can't afford another flight ticket. Like I can't afford another flight ticket. I can't afford to pay for all the emergency travel document fee. And you gotta freaking pay for losing your for losing your passport too. You gotta pay like $100 or something. You know,
Yeah,
like I was like, what? You know, like there's just so much money involved. So, and I was scared of that.
yeah,
And so I really wanted to get some him, you know, because um I didn't really know about him at all, or know his channel or what he does. Um, I was just on Facebook asking for people for help and how I should get my passport back, and they said go to him, like just go. Okay, so I just believed on the netizens' comment, so I went, and I just really expected that something. I didn't really expect much, but maybe I would get the opportunity to speak, you know,
with
and
with him.
yeah, and
So what happened when you went there? Because I'm sure that part of the experience was realizing that however dire your situation was, there's a lot of people with, even darker situations, even more.
that's exactly, you just pinpointed like right away. You know, when I went there, I was like, geez, this is a serious, like it's more serious than I thought. You know, like I mean, like I'm here with the passport situation, but like there's someone here with like his, I don't know, this his eye patch and stuff, like some
Yeah.
on wheelchairs and stuff. I was like, damn,
Gives
you
you
know. But
perspective.
yeah, I mean, later I learned that some of them actually kind of like fake that. Later I learned it,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
but yeah,
We're trying to get like a really deep moment here, and
yeah,
it's
tension
yeah.
kind of, yeah,
No,
but
only some.
but
Some is the keyword. Some people faked it, not everyone.
yeah, for sure, some.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, but like I said, mine was a very desperate thing too. It's like my last hope kind of
yeah,
thing. Obviously, I shouldn't rely on him, but like that's just my last kind of, let me just like last chance, you know, that I have to get back home like in the right time. And so they allowed me, like they said they're gonna put me on the show, or put me on the talk. you know. So I was, I went upstairs, I waited, you know, I had my lunch with my fan who was there to buy me lunch. And then we went to the waiting lobby with the other people who were going to be on the show together. So there were four of us five of us who was going to be on the show. And so I was waiting. I was just waiting. You know, this was a final, like in 10 minutes, 20 minutes, we're going to talk in front of like millions of people. And then this one person calls me out of the like waiting lobby and tells me that they can't like put me on the show. So I was like, why? Right? I was genuinely asking like, why? Because I've been waiting here, right? Like for the past, I was here since 6 a.m. and it was 2 p.m. during that time. It was like, so I was there for 8 hours. I've been waiting for 8 hours.
Wow.
And then the response I get is that they can't help me all of a sudden, you know? So I was like, are you kidding me? Like, please, like, can I please talk to your supervisor? Like, can I, like, I just really need this, you know? And then I met with the supervisor and she said that I'm there for attention and that I'm just there to seek attention, attention. You know, like, and they were just denying the fact that I lost my passport. They were like, no, like we probably didn't. Just go to your embassy and stuff. And I was like, I already went to the embassy. We don't have enough time. I got all these documents here that I lost my passport, the police affidavit of loss, the police report, you know, I got everything here, you know, but they still refused to help me, you know? So I was like very, very annoyed and anxious because I've waited like literally 8 hours and they keep claiming that I'm there for attention and for their, for my own good, you know, like, but I was just there genuinely to get help, like for the passport, you know, and it doesn't take even like, I didn't even want them to promote me or anything like that. I just want to be there just to like, just get a little bit of help at least, you know, maybe I thought they could, you know, just talk about my passport for 10 seconds, 20 seconds on the show. Like, that's fine. You know, like I just want a chance to get my passport back so that I can go back home. You know, like I was going through so much, you know, I was already done. You know, like I lost my passport. I even went to the police to put me in jail because I was so done with everything. You know, like I was getting into the most depressive moments, you know, I was alone in my New Year's. You know, I had the roughest Christmas. You know, like everything was like so much for me to handle. And I really wanted to just go back home. Because I didn't have to, like, if I don't make it, how am I gonna have the money again, right? I'm not gonna ask my parents for help because I've never done that, like really since I was born even. You know, like, so how am I gonna fix this situation, you know, other than me getting that kind of help, you know? So
So
it was really hard for me.
so
Yeah.
it was like an experience where you realize that sometimes the people who are claiming to help don't always follow through
Yeah,
or something.
really. So I learned that they weren't there to really help.
It was
They were
more of
there.
publicity.
They were there for their own views because listen to it. If they wanted to help me, they could obviously take that simple 10, 20 seconds on the show to help me. But they decided to film me, you know, being annoyed by talking to them. And they decided to put that on their show on the YouTube page or the YouTube channel and extract 3 million views by selling my name and by selling my identity, right? They were calling me a bunch of names and stuff, and they were making it dramatic so that
Wow.
they would get more views. And the Rafi guy was saying that if I ever go near them again, they're gonna he's gonna deport me out of the Philippines. Um,
So
like
it was a big like mess of stuff that should never have happened. Is basically what you're saying.
yes, Yes.
and this led to a number of things, and I wonder, because you mentioned too that you went to the police station and you were like trying to turn yourself in. Do you think some of this maybe was a miscommunication, or like you not understanding or them not understanding what really happened? Because it seems like losing a passport shouldn't be, cause that much of an extreme situation. Like, what do you think was the reason this happened? Was it mostly just trying to get views from your situation? Would that be the biggest reason?
Um, like for if I talk back with the police incident where I actually turned myself in that time,
Mm-hmm.
I was just very depressed during that moment because um, what I've planned to do, like what I told you, I wanted to help out the people earthquake, right, in need. Um, so this is gonna get a little bit more dark, right? Like
Sure.
we were kind of like just talking about more of the happy stuff before, but you know, I really wanted to help the people who went through the earthquake stuff during that time.
Yeah.
And I really just wanted to provide them with the clothes that I brought from Canada, 50 kilograms of the clothes. You know, I put so much effort to bring that those clothes. It was so much for me. I did not have my own personal like baggage person or a car. I had to
Yeah.
carry everything myself, right?
Yeah.
So if you think about the distance, you know, like Manila is all the way over at the top, and Cotabato is like all the way south and then to the left, and then so like
So
the
you're far
distance
away.
is so much,
Yeah.
you know. It's and so I brought it there, and you know, I had a concert there for them as well, like for to raise money for the earthquake victims as well in Cotabato, because the earthquake happened in Cotabato.
Mm.
So I thought I would be visiting them, like I did, but I thought I would be visiting them more and to give them, hand out the clothes to them, and I don't know, maybe serve them food from the donations like that we
That was
got.
that
You
was
know,
the goal when you were moving there.
yes, that was the goal, the whole point for me to go there, for me to travel there. But then
And then you found
I
yourself caught
was
up in this big.
I was fooled. I was fooled. Um, Everything was because they even made the poster. They were like Korean Star or something, and like they made it super big. Like they like it was my concert, you know. But I didn't even get to perform that much because they would put me in the whole time, which is reasonable because it's for the security, because there's a lot of like Muslim stuff like going on there, like a lot of people have guns and stuff, so like there were lots of police in that concert. There were around 20 policemen
What do you mean by that?
armed.
That there was like religious conflict in the Philippines? Is that what you mean by that?
I'm not sure like too deeply about that, but like I just know that there were few like I just know that it's not the safest place
Okay.
to go. Like if you go there, there is a risk that you might die.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So
Like a lot of places, there's different
yeah,
risks
like but that place in particular, like that's the most like that's considered a really dangerous place.
within the Philippines. That is
Yes,
particularly.
within the Philippines, that's considered a really dangerous
Yeah, okay.
place. So I was in
Right,
the
yeah.
van. And
Continue.
I
Yes.
had my personal guard too. Like he was like super like like he was very athletic guy. Like I still remember
Man, I
he
bet you
was like
missed
a
that
Rambo or
having a
something.
guard.
He was a Rambo. Yeah, but like yeah, so I performed and I was in the van, and I would only perform like once, and then but there would be so much like other like model showcase, like local artists show, so they
Yeah.
were using my name again. They're always using my name, like they're
Mm.
like I'm there for good intentions, or I'm there for genuine help, for being in a tough situation, but
But it looks like you're just there for publicity because of how everything's getting spun.
they somehow find reasons to use me, and I felt like used, to be honest, you know. And I just really hate like playing the victim stuff, you know. Like I'm not really big into that. But they really found ways to do that, and I didn't get to perform as much. And also the next day, I was told to play in a bar. Like, I thought I would spend that day like actually meeting with the earthquake victims because I'm gonna leave the next day. So, but that day, I was just playing in a bar. Wow. Like the people there, and then the model thing that happened again, like the model showcase or whatever. And then that night, I remember like it was the first time of my life I literally bought a beer. Like I was like, I bought a beer. I was like, the Philippines beer. It's called Red Horse. That's the first time I literally just, like I was like just pissed. I was like just pissed, you know. And I never in my life have I ever drank to get my pain away or to not. It's just a gesture. It's like, it's just a joke. It was to show people that I'm pissed because I didn't want to tell them that this is stupid, you know? So, you know, like, and also because in the concert, they threw my clothes to the audience. So they did not give the clothes to the shelter or like the earthquake victim people that I actually encountered in the, like when I went there. Because I actually visited like the tents and like the broken houses, and they actually just threw the clothes to people there. So
despite your intentions of like going there to help people, it didn't go. It was, you weren't invited for that reason.
I felt like I failed then.
Wow. So what lessons did you take out of that? Like, I mean, there's a lot to unpack, and that's obviously a really complex situation because you're trying to help, and you realize that sometimes, not always, but in this case, what you're going to help doesn't end up happening.
Yes.
That people who maybe do need help, but maybe need it less than other people, take advantage of the fact that you don't understand the geopolitical kind of influences of a particular area. So how do you think that, what were some of the lessons that you learned for how you now approach situations like that?
I learned for sure that you need to know the person. If you're going to work with that person, you need to know that he's got the same goals aligned with you.
Wow.
Which is going to be a really rare case. I just learned that as well because most of them just seem to kind of want it in a different way, or kind of just put more of them inside the project, because I really wanted that to be more for the others, right? For the victims of the earthquake. But some people actually use that for their own advantage. And that's why I do not believe in like the crazy earthquakes or like the rains or whatever in other countries anymore as much, because I know that they will use that to accumulate more.
I think probably those things do. I mean, there's a lot of misinformation in the world for sure. I think a lot of times then when there's a major earthquake, it's pretty well understood that actually did happen.
Yeah,
I think what you're
but
saying,
like, I'm just saying,
hey,
like,
we need help in this way might not be true. Maybe people who are asking for help might not have the same goals that you think. Like, they might not be entirely forthcoming about what they're trying to do.
I'm talking specifically about the Philippines because it's actually not just like, it's not just from my own observation and experience, but by the people there as well, that if you do donate to the people there and like, or the organizations there, the government will take it and stuff, and you know, like they never really do anything with it, you know. So it's very corrupted there apparently, and that's why I could just see like the organizations that the way that they handle it, like the big people, right? The big people, or the people with authority, like they just tend to, I guess, value their names and power more than the just the the help, or the real genuine heart,
Yeah. Wow, that's really interesting.
It was really sad, like, and to experience that, and because I was like, I had all those hopes, right? I had all those hopes. I had all that power, motivation, energy, that desire. I literally kept it, for that one final moment where I could actually give, like, that, those clothes to people. Like, clothes is just materialistic thing. Like, I don't even care about that, right? But even like, but behind that is like me actually like helping them, and watching them like be happy as they get it, like pick the clothes, like I actually thought that those kind of things would happen, but at least, right? But
Which is why the moments when you're able to share with, like, say, the street kids and perform with them,
yeah,
so
yeah,
meaningful, because that's more so in line with the goals that you had when you were going there.
yes. But I ended up playing in a bar, and I hate cigarette smell, and like people were smoking cigarette there, so it was so devastating. And
Wow.
that's and then when I got back to Manila, I was very lucky. Like, they didn't require passport for the in country flight. So
Yeah,
um
that would have been tricky.
yeah, so I went back to Manila, and then I was like, okay, now I don't have my passport. I can't get it, like, and I didn't have a house, right, Ben? I didn't have a house,
Yeah.
and I didn't want to like ask people for help, like, um, and I didn't have money because I spent it all on the flight, and the stuff like that. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna be homeless in the Philippines. So I was documenting myself. I was like, okay, guys, today we're gonna go to the police station to go to the jail because they'll probably house me for free. It's like,
Wow.
yeah, I was literally at the bottom of the bottom in a country that I'm just unfamiliar of. Every street that I walked was new. Every people there, they were new. The buildings, everything. I didn't know where I was walking, but I was like asking them where the police station was. And I remember I was wearing Sandman Hotel, like, the paper shoes that they like that they give. No, it was a Pinnacle Hotel. Yeah, Pinnacle Hotel. Like, the slippers, like that's super
Slippers.
thin,
Okay. Yeah.
it's super thin though. It's like paper, literally. And I was wearing that, and I was walking. They later ripped, but so I was carrying all of my belongings, and I was walking to the police station. I still have videos, everything documented, like, and
Sorry,
yeah, like,
it's not funny, but it's funny looking back,
yeah,
I think, in a way.
yes, it is like, so yeah.
Makes for an amazing story, though. And like the
Sorry.
fact that I said, it makes for an amazing story.
Yeah, yeah,
The fact that you've had experiences like that, I mean, those are going to stick with you. And every time you make a big decision moving forward, as I'm sure there will be a lot of big moments, like, you're going to try a lot of things, you're going to learn a lot of things.
for sure, for sure.
And
Yeah.
those things stay with you. And next time you're in a situation, maybe, you know, maybe you were too naive, and next time you will be less so. Or maybe, you just learned a truth about people and how
Mhm.
people act, because sometimes people aren't always as forthcoming as it seems, you know. And I think that
Yeah.
there's there's a lot in that story. Is there anything in specific that you want to touch on that we haven't talked about yet, before we
Um, I
wrap?
also I also learned I also learned that I am a type of person, I guess, to be misunderstood quite a lot, and that's been happening like since I was quite young. And
And why do you
um,
think that is?
I mean, to be honest, I still don't I still don't know to this day, like 100%, because I've never really. I mean, I'm not gonna say I've never done it because I don't know if I have, right? But I just don't recall a moment where I would, just assume that this person's like that, and then just kind of like, just ignore him or betray or kind of like put them in the tough spot,
Or like people put you in a box. They say like this
Yeah.
is what Juhwan is, and they don't understand that maybe you're just kind of a dreamer and just someone who has really big goals and ambitions and just is like genuinely trying to work towards those, but maybe
Yeah.
can't
I
see that.
I just don't know. Like I feel like I really felt like when I was in the Philippines, I was only like 18, 19 years old, and people were treating me like I was 30 years old. Like honestly. Like
Like
I,
expecting a lot.
yeah, like they were really just thinking like I'm super old, like and like I was just there, like just genuinely trying to, like just I use that word genuine a lot because I was really genuine, during that time, and they didn't really seem to. I mean, there were some people, obviously, a lot of people who looked at that, who cared about that, who respected, who loved it, everything, but um, like at the most important moments sometimes it's kind of twisted where when people just kind of disregard um, what your true intentions are, and yeah, that really kind of gave me big disappointments, and I was like, that kind of made me think or feel and believe why I should not really expect my intentions um,
Understood.
will be understood by them entirely, or that yeah, and that I guess from other people's point of view, I can make crazy act, like I am a crazy person, like
Crazy.
who would like do such thing is what they're thinking, right? Like
Yeah.
even people who supported what I did, like they were just telling me, like they were telling me, Juwan, like from like just let's just talk about some facts here. Like you're crazy. Like nobody would do that. Like when they're 18 and 19,
Yeah.
like, so I was like, yeah, yeah, yeah. So I mean, that's probably the reason why, I guess, that I guess
Get yourself into these situations sometimes.
yeah.
Wow. But I think that there's a deeper point to that too that I really think is important that you bring up. And sometimes, I mean, I know for myself, I don't always think about this, and I think a lot of other people are in the same boat. But we really do tend to, even from the neurological level, but also just from in our experiences, we tend to put people into categories and into boxes that we can understand. And we tend to identify people as something that makes sense to us. So they're, even as big things as like they're a victim or they're an oppressor or that person's like a good person or that person's this or that or all these really unhelpful terms. And I think we also do that with more personal things as well, where we say, this person is like this, Juwan is like this, or Ben is like this. But I think at the end of the day, nobody's ever like one thing. We're all adapting, and changing, and evolving throughout our lives. And
Yes.
I think it's really important to recognize we're all on a journey of uncertainty when we're trying to figure things out. And we shouldn't be expected in a lot of ways. Obviously, it's helpful to take a big picture point of view when you're trying to solve issues like climate change, world poverty. Then you can categorize people, but don't categorize them from a like who this person is in their deepest sense.
Yeah, very well said.
All right, bro. I've really enjoyed having you. Just before we finish off, I'm gonna ask you one question, one final follow-up question that I didn't ask Marat last week, but
okay.
This is a question that I'm going to ask all my guests.
For the baobab, bottom of the baobab tree.
At the base of the baobab tree, yes.
Oh, yeah, at the base of the...
and it's tying back into that. I mean, we've talked a lot about stories so far, so I mean, yeah, this fits really, really well into that theme. But here's the question. Based off your experiences so far, if you could tell one story or spread one message that would get through all of the noise and really reach people at their core, what would that story be? Or what would that message be? It can be general or it can be specific.
I really want to just say that I don't think I really think that you should never give up. I mean, it is vague, you know, very vague. You can, you know, put it on anything though. I just really think you should never give up, because I really wanted to give up a lot. That's why I'm telling you this. Like, I really wanted to give up a lot on many times. Like, I felt a lot, like what I said, you know, I visited the police to go to jail. I really self-destruct when I really try hard to like retain, survive. I really try hard to obtain. And then when I fail, like super big L's, I just self-destruct, you know, like I don't try to make things better. I just kill myself even more. So like I'm that kind of type of person, and I'm trying to obviously like get better with that. But you know, I just want you guys to like know that you should never give up, and there's always a light, you know, and that just continue on with whatever you're doing, whatever you're facing, because it is tough. Like, and the more I live, the more I see that it's not only my life that's tough. It's not only Ben's or anyone else's. Everyone's life is difficult in their own little ways, and that I think it's really important to never give up and persevere, and just dream about what you can achieve, and yeah, like I can just yeah, I'm just saying that because, you know, so that I can also motivate myself to never give up. You know, that's like just the motto that I've been living with my life for quite a while now, you know, never giving up. And, you know, although like I'm not too active with my social media stuff or the YouTube stuff, growing audience or whatever, I think you should just never give up, and whatever you do, live your life and, you know, own it.
Man, it really seems like you've earned the right to say that. You know, about your story.
Thank you.
I love it, man. Well, thank you so much for hopping on, and
thank you so much, Ben, for having me. Oh my goodness,
yeah,
it was such a good experience. Wow, like
this
it's
was
my first podcast. You know, like I've never really been on another podcast before, but you know, after doing my reaction video on my YouTube channel, Ben was like, "Okay, you talk," and he was like, "Oh, I'm probably gonna start this podcast," and like, and you know, like it's so great to see like when your friend like executes and like actually takes action. Like, you know, it really feels good. I'm genuinely happy for you, Ben, and I really wish for success. I really the best.
Mad appreciation for that. Thank you so much.
Great respect for your execution.
And I hope to have you back soon.
For sure. Whenever you're ready.
All right. Thank you so much for tuning in to At the Base of the Baobab Tree, Episode 2. I really hope that you got some value out of it and enjoyed it. Mr. Juhwan Kim's episode. Episode 3 is coming on Sunday. Please tune in wherever you get your podcasts. Have a good one.